Hello everyone, welcome to our Rhash-Algo channel. In this video, we are going to talk about Python lists. This is an introductory video for Python lists, and also we will go through some examples on how to use Python lists and how to modify the values in the lists and how to do certain operations by using lists. Okay, let's dive deep. If you don't know me, this is Rajesh Paleru who is speaking, and if you want to follow me, you can check the LinkedIn profile URL given at the bottom of the screen. Okay, let's start guys. What are lists? A list is a collection of items in a particular order. Okay, what does that mean? Let's dive deep with some examples. Let's say I'm creating a list with a variable L equal to some numbers 1 comma 2 comma 3. Okay, type of L, what is that? The type class is list. Okay, it clearly says that the type of this specific variable is list and it is related to the list class. Why? Because the reason is we have placed all the values 1 comma 2 comma 3 within the square brackets. That's the reason this is called list. Okay, now the question is, do I need to have a similar kind of values in the list? No, not at all. Let's create the same list variable. I'm creating or reassigning the variable with a different value now. Okay, now I am giving integer 1, something like, or hash algo, a string and a float and a boolean. Okay, now what happened to this L? Okay, type of L, list. Okay, what if I want to find the length of this specific list? len. By using len keyword or len function, I can find out the number of elements present in that specific list. Okay, now if you see one more feature with this list, the order with which I have created is preserved, which means the order doesn't changed. Okay, you understood that, right? So the order is not changing. So lists are ordered collections of elements which can hold different set of elements, and these are mutable, which means the elements in the list can be modified. Okay, let's see those also with some examples. Okay, but before even that, I would like to show you how to access the elements within the list. Okay, let me clear the screen guys. You know L is, these are the values present in this list, right? If I want to access this string or hash algo, how would I do that? L of index. What is the index of this element? Actually in Python, any index starts from 0 and ends with len minus 1. Okay, what does that mean? So index started with 0, index of 1 is 0, 1, 2, 3, right? The length of this list is 4, but my list ended with index 3. That's because the number of elements needs to be finished at index 3. The reason is index is starting at 0. Okay, now if I want to access the element or hash algo, what should I give? Index 1. Okay, that's how I got this string. Okay, now I want to access the last element in this list guys. How can I do that? One way is len of L minus 1. Maybe by giving, I think by giving this L, maybe you are getting confused. Maybe let me give you some different name. Okay, vals equal to L. Okay, vals. Now it's clear, right? Let me clear the screen. Vals. Okay, now let me access the last element. Okay, vals of len of vals. Okay, since I am accessing the last element, I can give I am basically trying to find out the last element by giving the length of, by finding the length of this specific variable, which is nothing but a list. Okay, let's try that. What will happen? You understood that, right? You might have observed here, right? Index error. We got index error. The reason because len of vals is actually len of vals is 4, but my index ends at 3, right? Now for that what I have to do is -1. Okay, that's way I can get the last element. That is one approach. Okay, another approach is vals of -1, just -1. -1 is minus indicates start from end. Okay, starts from end. The index 1, since we are starting from end, we have to give the index number as 1. But if I start from beginning or the starting, I have to give index number as 0. Okay, that's the way of accessing the elements in list. Okay, now how can I access a range of elements? For example, if I want to access these two elements, okay, what should I do for that? For that I need to do like 0 1 colon 2. Okay, I try to access 1 2, but why I got only Rhash-Algo? I should be getting 3.14 also, right, which is at the index 3, which is at index 2 basically, right? 0 1 2. I gave 2 also here, but I didn't get 3.14. Why? The reason is the indexing or the slicing, this is actually start and this is actually stop. Okay, so when I am trying to access the elements through slicing, the elements will be retrieved starting from the start index and which ends at stop -1. What is that? You got it or not? Let me explain again. Here I gave stop index as 2, right? Actually the stop index in this list is 0 1 2 3.14, but I should be able to get the elements till 2 only, because that's how the slicing will work. It will take 2 and it will reduce 1 from that and it will access the elements till that position only. If I want to access these two elements, what I have to do is I have to do something like this. That way I should be able to access the elements from 1th index and 2nd index. Okay, that's the way of accessing elements by using slicing. And how do I do certain operations on the lists? Let me clear the screen. Okay, vals. Okay, if I want to add a element to this list, what should I do? Vals dot append something like, yeah, let me add a complex number 3 plus 4j. Vals. What is the vals? You see it, right? The element which I added is now appended to that list. Okay, that way I should be able to append the elements to the list. Now how can I delete the elements? Simply use delete keyword, vals of 0. Which index you want to delete? Vals of 0, 0th index. Now vals is this one. Okay, now if I want to modify any value, let's say if I want to modify the value at index 0. Okay, so for that vals of 0 equal to something like this number. Okay, now what will happen to this? Now this value which was string earlier is now replaced with this number 1 2 3 2 1. Okay, what did we see? Adding an element to the list, deleting an element from the list, or modifying some elements within the list. We saw all those operations, right? There is one more. There is one more way of removing the elements. vals dot pop. What will happen is the last element will always be removed if I give vals dot pop. If I give any index like something like this, the value which is at that specific index will be popped out and displayed, and that will be removed. For example, if I see something like this, vals is, these two values are there. Okay, now if I want to remove the value, vals dot remove true, vals. What happened here? What is the difference between vals dot pop and vals dot remove? In case of vals dot pop, like if I use pop, pop pop on list, that index we need to specify within the braces, and the value will be displayed on the screen, and then that value will be removed or deleted. But in case of remove operation, when we are calling this remove function on top of vals list, I have to specify the value, and it will do the inline operation, which means it will delete the element from that specific list and it won't show anything on the screen. But when I print that specific vals variable, it will show that the value or the element is removed from that specific list. Okay, that's the difference between pop and remove. Okay, now how do I iterate over all the elements within the list? Okay, for that I will create one more list, guys. Okay, vals equal to something like 1 comma 2 comma 3 comma hash algo and true false 3 plus 4j. Okay, I gave all the types of elements, mostly float number is not covered, but that's okay. Now I want to iterate over all the elements. What that means is I want to print all these elements. For example, if I am doing certain operation on all the elements, in this case I have different types of elements, but in general, in most of the cases, there will be a similar category of elements will be maintained in the lists. For example, integers or maybe floats or maybe strings. So let's assume I want to iterate over all the elements of this list. Okay, for that what I need to do is for val in vals print val. That's it. Okay, that's the way, guys. Now one of the very good or advantageous operation within the Python is list comprehension. What is list comprehension? Okay, earlier if I wanted to create a list, for example vals, I have to do is I have to create something like this and I have to put values like this. Okay, like this. Okay, now what is this? Vals. Now if I want to find out what are the numbers within this which are divided by 2, what should I do? For val in vals, if val percentage 2 equal to 0, print val. Okay, this is the way. That too, that value is not available within the list. I have to create an empty list and then I have to append this value to that empty list. But simply what I can do is with this list comprehension, for example, vals equal to this is list comprehension, guys. Val for val in range of 10 if val percentage 2 equal to 0 vals. So what happened here? I simplified all of this logic where I created a list and I iterated over all the elements of that specific list, and I had if condition, and then again I had to create an empty list and I had to append these values to that empty list. All those operations are simplified into this single line of statement. This is called list comprehension. With the list comprehension, what we can accomplish is that we can build a single line statement for large code of block. We don't need to write for loops, we don't need to write if conditions, we don't need to write appending, everything. All that can be achieved with the help of list comprehension. Okay, that's pretty much about lists, operations within the lists, and the creation of the list and modifying the elements within the list, doing certain operations like delete and modifications, appending, and list comprehension. So all of these operations can be done on the lists. So that's it pretty much from my side, guys. If you want any other further videos, please put a comment in the comment section, and if you want to stay tuned to my videos, please subscribe to my channel.